Welcome back to Bravo Breaking News. So today I have an update on the one and only Jen Shah.
Follow me, guys.
Of course, we know that she is currently in prison serving her 6.5-year sentence. But since she reported to prison on February 17th, we've gotten a few updates, and some of them are pretty cringe. She's sharing a little bit about her life in prison, giving a peek behind the scenes, or the bars, if you will. And it's honestly wild. I don't know. I mean, she's running into some trouble, but she is also trying to make the best of the situation. So I am going to break down all the latest Jen Shah headlines right now. But first, before I dive in, make sure you subscribe so you don't miss any Bravo breaking news or episode recaps to come. So a few weeks ago, we learned that Jen Shah's 6.5-year sentence for her telemarketing fraud scheme was actually reduced to 5.5 years. Why? I don't know. Nobody knows. I mean, I know that you can get a reduced sentence for good behavior, but surely you have to be in prison for more than a month to prove yourself as somebody with good behavior. So if I have any legal experts watching, please weigh in on why her sentence was reduced a whole year after only being in prison for 1 month. Then we got an update that is honestly pretty laughable about something that Jen Shah is doing in prison currently right now with her fellow inmates. Page 6 reported that Jen Shah is creating a prison play, Real Housewives of Bryan, with fellow inmates. Jen Shah won't stay out of the limelight despite being behind bars. The former Real Housewives of Salt Lake City star is creating a play with her fellow inmates, aptly titled The Real Housewives of Bryan, in honor of their prison camp, her manager told TMZ Thursday. Chris Giovanni said the production is still in early development because Shah is teaching some of the crew how to read and write. The script reportedly will revolve around the real-life housewives locked up at FPC Bryan in Texas. Naturally, the personalities are cranked up to 11, Giovanni shared. This is... I don't even know what to say. I guess you have to figure out how to spend your time somehow, but creating a housewives play with your fellow inmates, I don't know. I guess I gotta give her props because it sounds like she's running that prison yard, and I don't know. What else is there to do in there? It's a little cringe, but honestly, I hope they film it because I'd love to see it. Page 6 also shared that Shah has been working in the prison's educational department and library since surrendering herself in February. Despite her busy schedule of playwriting and teaching, the convicted felon also has been keeping up with her fitness. Giovanni said his client has lost about 15 pounds from working out daily and eating less as she finds the food subpar. Again, pretty laughable, but honestly, I don't know. Take notes from Teresa because Teresa got in the best shape of her life in prison. She started doing yoga, which kind of launched an entire brand for her. So I don't know. Jen Shah, we don't like you right now, but at least you're trying to better yourself in prison and, I don't know, make the best of it. But it is not all fun and games for Jen Shah in prison because another headline came out this week that is not good for her. Page 6 reported that in prison, Jen Shah allegedly owes $124K to her lawyer. And I love Page 6 because they are so shady. The article starts with, hopefully the Real Housewives of Bryan is lucrative. Jen Shah's lawyer claims the imprisoned Real Housewives of Salt Lake City alum owes her $124,000. Priya Chaudhry filed court documents Thursday obtained by Page 6 stating that Shah failed to pay $50K in legal fees in addition to $74K for other expenses. The filing comes after Chaudhry requested to drop Shah as a client, arguing that the reality star's 6-figure debt had breached their contract. They shared a quote, Shah and her husband Sharif repeatedly promised to pay these outstanding amounts, and the firm continued to provide services relying on the written engagement with Shah and the promises of her husband. A New York judge has yet to rule on the attorney's request to withdraw from the case. Chaudhry didn't immediately respond to Page Six's request for comment. Shah has not addressed the claims since she is currently serving a 5.5-year sentence at FPC Bryan in Texas. So this does not come as a surprise. As we all know, Jen Shah's entire business is a fraud. We know that all of her designer handbags and clothes came out as fake. And while Sharif is a successful coach, I'm not sure that that is a super lucrative career to have. So they were relying on all of this fraudulent income to support their life. And now they have to pay all of these exorbitant legal fees for Jen. And I don't think, as somebody who's only been on a Real Housewives show for 2 years, that Jen is making all that much money from the show. I mean, we learned that Bravo has cut ties with her, so I don't think she will be filming moving forward, even after prison. But I think for her first 2 seasons, she was probably making not that much per episode. So now they're left with all of these bills and no money to pay them. So obviously, it does not come as a surprise that she cannot pay her legal fees. It is another sad, sad chapter of Jen Shah's story because she is in prison. Obviously, she has no way of making money right now. I don't think that the play is going to be lucrative. I don't think she can even make money off the play, Shady Page Six. So I think that, I don't know, she's in debt. And what's the saddest part about this is that Sharif is the one that's going to be responsible for paying for this. And I feel so bad for him. You know, he is a solid guy, a stand-up husband, and he seems to be staying by her side through all of this at the moment. We don't know if that's going to last, but this is all going to fall on him, and I feel so bad. I'm sure Jen does too, but you know, we'll just have to see how this plays out. Will they stay together? Will he be able to pay the legal fees? What happens if he doesn't pay the legal fees? You know, that should have some sort of, you know, bad consequences for Jen. So we will see what happens. I am going to be here to give you guys all of the updates on Jen in prison. Let me know what you want to see and what you want to find out. And make sure you subscribe so you don't miss any Bravo breaking news.